Hey, how's it going guys? Bill here, and this is a review of the ToAuto soldering station, model number DS90. A big thank you to today's sponsor, Fast2Buy, for sending out this complimentary sample for my unbiased review. Be sure to check out their upcoming Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales for a great deal on this soldering station and other cool DIY and hobby tools. You'll receive the soldering station, solder tin roll caddy with a roll of solder, iron handle seat, solder sucker, grounding wire, tweezers, 5 additional tooltips, and an instruction manual. Assembly is really quick and straightforward. First, slide the iron handle seat with the grooved section facing down into the slot at the top right-hand corner. On the left-hand side, remove the 2 screws and set them aside. Remove the hanging bar and solder from the solder roll caddy, then line up the 2 small holes with the 2 holes on the station where the screws were attached. Use a long screwdriver and reattach the 2 screws through the holes on the caddy. Then place the solder roll on the hanging bar and sit it in the caddy. Along the right-hand side, you can store your extra tips in these slots. On the front of the unit, you will find a small LCD, analog temperature control dial, lock button, brass cleaning wool, and sponge in an ESD-safe trough. On top is the power rocker, and the soldering iron can be stored in the seat we installed earlier. The cord length of the permanently attached soldering iron is about 3 feet long. At the back of the machine, you have a 3.5-foot grounded power cable, and right next to it is the ground port for the grounding cable. Just plug the prong of the grounding cable into this port, and the alligator clip on the other side can be clipped to whatever you need to ground, like a grounding wrist strap or your PCB. Just to verify that the ground is working, I'm using a multimeter on the continuity setting to check whether there's continuity between the ground plug on the power cable and the alligator clip, which there is, and also between the iron tip and the grounding cable, and the ground pin, which there is as well. To change the soldering tip, unscrew the metal tube and remove the existing tip, which exposes the ceramic heating element. Just be careful not to damage this. The extra tips you'll receive is a knife tip, chisel, beveled, wide, and fine conical tips. Slide the tip you want to use over the heating element, then replace and tighten the tube. When you turn the power switch on, the iron tip will start to heat up immediately, and you can see the current temperature climb on the LCD. I like to start on the lowest setting when I turn the iron on, as a precaution. The red temperature shown on top is the current temperature in Fahrenheit, and the blue line on the bottom is the temperature in Celsius. The lowest setting is 150 degrees Celsius, or 302 degrees Fahrenheit. To adjust the temperature, simply turn the dial to your desired temperature. For example, I'll change it to the max setting of 450 degrees Celsius or 842 degrees Fahrenheit, and after a moment the iron will start to adjust in temperature until it reaches your setting. I don't actually want it that high, so I'm going to dial it back down to around 200 degrees Celsius. If you press the lock key, the word lock will appear on the LCD, and the machine will hold this temperature setting. Turning the dial up or down will not change the temperature. Pressing the lock key again unlocks it and allows the machine to be set at the temperature the dial is currently sitting at. If you find that the tip temperature is not accurate, you can adjust it by using an offset by long pressing the lock key. This will allow you to increase or decrease the temperature of the tool to match what is shown on the LCD by up to 99 degrees Celsius. For example, if when set to 200 degrees Celsius, you find that the tip is really only 180 degrees Celsius, you can set the offset to plus 20 degrees, which adds 20 degrees to the tooltip so that it matches the value on the LCD. So let's give it a try. I'm going to set the soldering iron to 300 degrees Celsius and let it come up to temperature. You'll want to pre-tin your soldering tip, and as always, work in a well-ventilated room or with a fan that can draw away the fumes the solder will give off. Now I'll add some solder to my connection point on this speaker amp and quickly solder on the wire I want connected to it without leaving it in contact with the iron for too long. The soldering iron temperature is super simple to set accurately to get the tooltip hot enough to melt your tin, but not too hot as to damage surrounding components. The handle also did not get hot during operation. The solder sucker is used to remove the solder from existing joints. To use the solder sucker, you'll press the plunger at the end down, place the white tip over melted solder, and press the black release button to create suction that should hopefully remove the solder, if you're fast enough. Let's give it a try. First, I'll pre-tin the existing joint. Then I'll heat up the solder until it is liquid, quickly cover the joint with the suction tool, and press the release button. And if you look closely, most of the solder on that joint was removed. After use, cleaning the tip is quick and easy by lightly pushing it into the cleaning wool a couple times and wiping the tip on a wet sponge until all the residual solder is removed. If you leave the iron on in the holder for 10 minutes or more, the unit will go into standby, indicated by the letters STB on the LCD, and lower the temperature to 200 degrees Celsius to keep it warm. However, if you leave the iron alone for 20 minutes or longer, it will go into sleep mode, indicated by the letters SLP, and the iron heat will be shut off completely. To wake the unit up from either standby or sleep mode, just pick up the iron handle and shake it gently, or turn the temperature adjustment dial. Overall, the soldering station is really easy to use. Set the temperature, and adjust the temperature correction offset for accurate heating. There's very little setup involved, and you can get started soldering out of the box with the included roll of tin. The standby and sleep function, along with the grounding wire, add additional safety measures that a basic soldering iron wouldn't have. I hope you enjoyed this review. You can ask me any questions in the comments. I'll put a link to the product in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and join me next time.